Welcome to the Milk Bottle Shopify e-commerce podcast, brought to you by Milk Bottle Labs, Ireland's top-rated Shopify experts. Milk Bottle Labs build, upgrade, migrate and market Shopify and Shopify Plus stores all over the world. Milk Bottle will migrate you onto Shopify with zero interruption, guaranteed, or optimize your Shopify store and maximize store sales. This podcast is kindly supported by our favourite Shopify app and the only app we install in every store. Rewind.io is the leading backup solution for your Shopify store. We'll talk more about Rewind later. Now over to your host, founder of Milk Bottle Labs, Keith Matthews.
Hey folks, welcome back. My guest today is Ray Mongey. Ray is the founder of Octovid, which is a marketing platform that creates hyper-personalization for your videos. And I had a good idea what hyper-personalization was before I spoke to Ray, but if you want to create ads that could actually have the name of your car or your customer's car or your customer's dog or address layered on to the video ad to create a level of personalization which I haven't quite seen yet, stay tuned. So here goes. Ray Mongey, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Keith. How are you keeping?
We're keeping well. Just before I pressed record there, we were just discussing the latest lockdown in Dublin. So third week in September, everybody in the restaurant trade, unfortunately, is out of work. Indoor restaurants, bars in the capital of Ireland have been shut down. So other than that, Ray, we're doing good. And firstly, thanks for your time. You've been a big supporter of our meetups in Dublin over the last few years. And the last time we met, I think it may have been our last one actually prior to the lockdown. So it's great to finally have an Irish app developer on the podcast. So thanks for your time.
Brilliant. It's a pleasure to be on. Thanks for asking. And yes, I enjoyed those points. So all good.
Yeah, we ended up in a very London-esque hotel on Harcourt Street. Can you think of the name of it?
I can't. It's across the road from the building where we were, but there was a lot of Shopify people there as well. So I actually made some really good contacts. So thanks for inviting me to the after drinks. It was really nice, actually.
That's good. After drinks they're open to everybody. When we're going to do that again is beyond me, obviously, with what's going on. But look, I remember that time you were explaining what Octovid is and what you were doing. But before we get into that, I was just reading your profile. First thing is, there mustn't be too much that you don't know about video because you've worked all over the world. Give us your background.
Yeah, I've been doing it for years, mainly, say, animation and motion graphics, VFX, that sort of thing. So I guess when I was in college a long time ago, one of my tutors put me in touch with a company and they were saying, hey, can you do this sort of video and can you do this sort of animation? And I said, yeah, I can do all that, but there wasn't much work in Ireland at the time and I was just leaving college. So I had actually booked my one-way sort of visa over to Canada. So when they asked me this question, I said, yeah, I can do that, but I'm leaving the country in 2 weeks. And they said, well, we like your work. We don't care what you're doing or where you are. If you're sitting on a beach, if you can actually do the work and send it back, we'll pay you. So that was the beginnings of my probably five year on and off traveling around as what's called now a digital nomad, I guess, and getting paid for what I love doing. So yeah, it was a very interesting time of my life.
How it's all changed. Digital nomad has now becoming it was originally called outsourcing. Then you were cool if you were a freelancer because you owned your own calendar, and now it's digital nomad. So it'll probably change soon, I suppose.
Yeah, I was everything. I even when I got back from traveling, then I would have set up a business as well in the Dublin, in the city centre. That was video production and animation. So sort of grew that out. I had some really good staff. A really good team behind us, but certain things happen sometimes, and sometimes when things are hit, businesses fail. But I guess it's really down to, like, shit is going to happen, but it's really how you deal with it. I think that's the main thing. So it was a hard hit, but hopefully recovered from that.
Are Brown Bag Films, are they Irish?
Yes, that's from, well, it is headed by Colin Gaffney, based in Smithfield there now at the minute, but they were recently acquired by Story 7, I think is the name of the company. I think they're actually American. So a lot of the really good animation studios based in Ireland are actually being acquired, or at least in some way bought out or funded by, I'm not too sure the details. Like Boulder Animation has been, as far as I know, bought by Hasbro, which is the toy manufacturer.
Toy company, yeah.
Exactly. So it's just if you have the IP on toys, for example, or any physical products, then they're going to make, especially with kids' toys, they're going to make cartoon series about it and films about it, because that's where the money is. Yeah, there's a lot of very successful Irish animation companies. Yeah, it's really interesting.
I used to, in a former life, I used to do stand-up comedy, and I used to gig with a girl in the Halfpenny Inn back in 2006, 2007. And she was involved, I think it was a Brown Bags production, and she was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely.
3-4 years ago. But anyway, we'll move on. So at the moment, you're running Octovid, and I'm just reading from the front of the website. I mean, I know exactly what it does. Hyper-personalised video marketing ads in minutes. So explain to the listeners, without that beautifully handwritten tagline, exactly what Octovid does.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's essentially, if you have any video content yourself or stock video footage that you can get online, you can add a video player to your website or your store, and you can actually change the settings using the Octovid Player. So essentially the video will update and change in real time based on who's viewing it. So for example, if I'm in Dublin and it's 8 a.m. and it's a sunny day, then it's going to use that information to present the message to me. If I'm in Galway and it's 9 p.m. at night and it's raining, then the message is going to be different. But it will also change the video footage. So if you have your product, for example, then you can actually show that product in that specific time, location, or weather. So all you need is video footage of whatever you want to put into it, and then the player itself will actually dynamically swap out to make it more relatable to whoever's viewing the video.
Okay, so quick question. Is Octovid hosting that video?
Yeah, we're hosting it on AWS, so in Ireland, on an EC2 instance. So yeah, it's in Ireland.
So if I want to place that then on my Shopify store, you're giving me an embed code similar to embedding YouTube, or is there an app needed in a Shopify store?
Oh, no, it's just the embed code. Yeah, absolutely. You can pop that onto any page on your Shopify store or on your WordPress website or HTML page. So it's very flexible. You just copy that and paste it in, as you said, just like a YouTube iframe sort of snippet of code.
So Ray, if I was running a successful Shopify store in Ireland or anywhere else in the world, video is clearly the way forward, okay? The difference between ordinary video or standard video or branded video is clearly the fact that you're personalizing the video by layering the message on top. How would that actually help my business?
It can make it more relatable. So, for example, one of our Shopify store users, she sells products for like allergy products for dogs. So when I was having a chat with her on Zoom, because I'm doing a lot of sort of demo calls as well still now, but she was saying that she knows in her MailChimp or Klaviyo account, she knows the purchaser, so the customer, say Susan, for example. But I said, if you knew the dog's name, you could put that in as well as a dynamic merge tag, so the dog's name actually appears in the video on the landing page. And she thought that was really funny because she actually had the dogs' names as well. So the message can come up as, "Hey, Susan, how's Rex doing?" And then I said, do you know what you can actually do? If you knew the breeds of these dogs, you can actually change it. So if Rex is a Chihuahua, you can have a video footage, a generic video footage of Rex, a Chihuahua beside your product, so that when the breed was a merge tag, that would then trigger the player when the person clicked on your landing page to then update that video to show the Chihuahua as opposed to a Doberman, for example. So that's it's incredibly flexible. To be honest, we're learning about this tool that we're building every day from chatting to people. It's so flexible.
I think it's natural that you would. You're not doing your job properly if you just think that you're focused on one thing and you're not going to in any way pivot or change. So I suppose just to go back to that point, number one, thanks for answering the question, because I can understand straight away exactly what hyper-personalization is. There's very few platforms out there that can actually personalize based on a dog's name or a breed. I'm assuming then you could adopt the same thing to if you knew somebody what your customer's car range was or where they lived in terms of their location. You could probably do the same, could you?
Absolutely. Well, for the car range, then you could add in a merge tag, create a merge tag in Octovid, like say model, for the model of car, for example. But if you had that information in your mailing list, then that model will then update either the text, so it will say BMW or Mercedes or whatever it is, or if you have the video footage of these different vehicles, then it will actually dynamically change that video footage, the same as the dog breed. So yeah, it's quite powerful in what it can do there.
Very powerful. Can I just go back one bit? You mentioned that you're constantly changing and learning. Does that mean, do I sense there was a pivot early on, or was there a change in direction?
There was definitely. We originally, because my background, as I said, is animation and video production and that. And what I looked at originally was actually making nice looking motion graphics templates so that store owners can actually just search for their products inside the app and then add their products in, and then they've got a video straight away. And that's great. And we developed that app and it's available there as well. So it was actually one element of that was to make things dynamic. And then it was around about Christmas last year that a different competitor came into the market of making just standard static videos for e-commerce. And basically I looked at them and said, okay, well, you know, if you can't beat them, add value. So what we've done now is focus primarily on the dynamic side of things and the personalization side of things. But because you can import any video footage that you have with our tool now, it means that you can use any video maker. So you can make a video with your phone, you can get stock footage, you can use an online tool for making a nice looking video and then upload that video into Octovid Player and then create the different variants and make it all dynamic. So I guess it was a pivot based on what we knew we wanted to do regarding personalization, what we were being told by the marketplace of what's needed and what they want. And then at the same time, there was a hard push from other competitors coming in and making template video makers, which they're a dime a dozen at the minute. We're a bit slow off the mark getting our original app to market. But based on that, it's really excelled us and pushed us in this direction. And we've actually developed the tool a whole lot faster than the previous one. So yeah, it's really interesting, to be honest. And we've got bigger agencies in Ireland as well who are really interested in what we're doing, and they're pushing Octovid Player as well for actual large contracts that they're winning. So we just got news only last Friday that it's going to be used in a large campaign for a well-known company here in Ireland. So that's going to be really interesting. So it's not only e-commerce that we're actually looking at for this platform. We've gotten a lot of interest from the bigger companies and agencies as well. So as I said before, we're learning from this tool. It's very interesting.
That's great, and well done on that. And everybody that I speak to, you know, even ourselves in Milk Bottle, every day is a school day, as they say.
Exactly.
Ray, one of the channels that we push with the majority of our store owners is email. Does that mean I can use those merge tags you mentioned and push out a video which would personalize on email, or is that taking it too far?
No, that's exactly what it does. That's exactly it. So we have direct MailChimp integration at the minute. We're working on Klaviyo. Am I pronouncing that correct? Klaviyo?
Yeah, you are.
It is, yeah. Brilliant.
It's Klaviyo or Klaviyo. But in my pronunciation of it, my understanding is that it is Klaviyo.
Excellent.
Talk us through what a customer would have to do to send team at Milk Bottle then a personalized video or a thank you note of some sort. What would they have to do?
Okay, so once you have your Octovid Player account, you add in your video footage and you type your message like hi and then put _name, for example, and whatever the rest of the message is. So you embed that on your landing page, and then you send out an email campaign through your mailing list. And essentially for the link, for the button that will link to that landing page, you just simply add the merge tag of _name equals, and then in MailChimp, for example, it's fname. So that will be the person's first name, and then send that out, and then that's it. So every individual recipient of them emails clicks on that link, and very similar to how the email will be personalized, as in it says, hi, Suzanne, hi, Jennifer, whoever's the person's name is in the actual body of the email. The same thing is happening with the link there. So when they click on the link, it brings them to your landing page. except it dynamically takes that name and sticks it into the video at real time. So every person on your mailing list will click on that link and see their name in the video. So that's to begin with. That's the easy part. After that, it is, as I said, if you know their purchase history, for example, you can put a product that they purchased or whatever in there, and not only change, hey, we see that you bought this bicycle, do you want to buy this helmet? But you can actually change the video footage as well to show the video of the bicycle, for example, or dynamically change it in any way.
Let's take a short break and I'll share the one app we install on every Shopify build. The team at Rewind.io have developed the leading backup solution for Shopify. Did you know there is no way of recovering lost data from a Shopify store? Rewind.io automatically backs up your store data. In the event of a data loss, usually due to human error, Rewind enables you to rewind your store back to its previous state. It's so simple and is used by some of the world's leading Shopify agencies, such as Kurt Elster of EtherCycle and Kelly Vaughan at the Tap Room. If your store is gaining traction, you may have multiple users making changes. Often store owners allow team or app developers enter a store to add code. Sometimes mistakes happen and data gets deleted. You can reduce your business risk today and prevent a costly catastrophe by installing the Rewind.io app on your Shopify store. Get your first month of Rewind for free by simply responding to any of the welcome messages or emails you receive after you begin your 7-day trial and mention this podcast. Now, back to the interview. For the Shopify listeners then, if you were working with an agency or you had, even a small marketing team, they could plan a campaign and they could upload, let's say, 10 different videos into Octovid, which represented 10 different products, hyper-personalize the video, and then mail shot their entire base with that. Is that the way agencies would use it?
Absolutely, yeah. That makes perfect sense. And another thing that I'd like to point out is somebody asked us about, they have a Shopify store selling kids' clothes and baby clothes, and they do little raincoats as well. It's really lovely looking designs and everything. And they have a review page on their website, for example. So they were saying on the review page, we've got, people saying, oh, we love this brand and this product and that product and this product. But it would be great to have that review page, have the video on the review page actually dynamically change entirely based on whichever page and whichever product page the user came from. So if they landed on the little yellow raincoat page and clicked on the reviews, then the review page would have somebody holding up the little yellow raincoat saying, oh, we love this product, kid loves it, it's great quality, etc. So basically it can use the referral link of where the person came from to actually dynamically update the video as well. So whatever data you can put into it that you have in your mailing list, for example, or referral linking, or dynamic stuff like time of day, day of the week, their weather conditions, location. So if you have a special offer, you can say it's today's special offer, but if somebody looks at that video or your landing page on a Tuesday, it will say Tuesday special offer, click here to buy, and then you can add the dynamic button as well. So
gosh, what you've explained is very powerful. So in terms of a dashboard and in terms of data and in terms of analytics, the first thing Shopify users would say, well, does it increase conversions? So what sort of data can you supply to the customer based on all of those videos that were sent out and all of the plays? Now, I'm not trying to catch you out. It's obviously requires time to build out a decent dashboard. But at what stage are you at in terms of supplying the customers with data?
If I was fairly honest with you, which I am, we've got a basic analytics and now at the minute where essentially it just tracks the impressions. So it counts up the impressions that you've had. So how many times the video was viewed. The plan is to build that out. So you can get a lot of data from Google Analytics, and we're not going to compete with them, obviously. But what we will be able to do at some point is to tell you how long the video was viewed for and which variants of that video was actually viewed. So kind of allowing you to A/B split test the video itself, the dynamic video. So then next time to do a little bit less of that and a little bit more of this to help the conversion rates. And then as well as that, because we have the option to add a button into the video, so depending on which variant the person views, there's a button there, and when they click on the button, then we'll be able to track that as well, so that you'll be able to see in your dashboard which variant of the video they watched, how long they watched it for, and did they click the call to action button that you wanted them to. So
what you've just explained there, is a good start. Obviously, you're aware of MailChimp and Klaviyo, but if I was building any piece of software, tomorrow I'd be looking at the Shopify dashboard, MailChimp's dashboard, and Klaviyo's dashboard. They're the metrics that people are looking for. But as you say, obviously nobody is ever going to compete with Google. You're providing at least impressions, which is a good thing.
For the minute, yeah, definitely. And I think we're really not trying to reinvent the wheel. I think what we do have is a piece of tech that we're learning from, and it's evolving itself, kind of. So we don't want to go fully into analytics because you can find that information yourself. So I'd rather focus on what we're good at, really, and give some analytics, but not focus all our time and effort on that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you absolutely 100%. I'm assuming that a big kind of curveball that you get off plenty of people is, which you look at, I can get personalized video on Facebook, or get personalized video on Instagram, or I can get nicely designed videos by an agency for Facebook and Instagram. But can I create a personalized video for Facebook or Instagram just as you described?
To give you the blunt answer, if you're asking, can you use, say, the Octovid Player to make a personalized video for these platforms? The answer is no, unfortunately, because Facebook would have their own proprietary video player, which they're not opening up to allow you to make personalization to the videos. But what you can do is you can actually create, and we've got a demo on the website there as well, but if you had an ad campaign, maybe targeting males and females, if you're a fashion store, for example, then you can set up that ad variant in Facebook and then use Facebook's data to target each gender, for example. So it would still be mystore.com, but for the male one, it could be mystore.com/male or #male, and the other one will be mystore.com #female. So they're both going to the same landing page, but the video then picks up on that tag that's in the URL, and then it dynamically changes the video content to display for that specific viewer. So yeah, there's a demo on the website there that's, say, trainers. So it shows two people jogging, for example, and it says, hey, joggers, look at our special offers, and then the button clicks to the special offers, for example. But if you're going to that website with the tag of male or the tag of female in the URL from whatever ad that you come from, then the video dynamically changes to that specific gender to present a woman jogging, and the message is all tailored towards women, and then vice versa for the male as well.
Gosh, it's very clever.
It's, again,
very clever.
We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, Facebook knows data, we're not going to compete with them. Again, focus on what we're good at and give essentially, it's given our customers the ability to use all these tools, like the analytics from Klaviyo and MailChimp and Google, and all the data that Facebook already has. And it's basically just saying, you create the content and shove it into our Octovid Player, and then let these other tools actually pass that other data in. And then it generates new video content so that each visitor to your page actually sees a much more relatable video, and it's more personable to them. So
also, you're using Facebook's data to bring people to your site, and you're using the data to make the experience on your site a better experience, which you would then hope would increase conversions and increase sales. Whereas if you're not doing that on Facebook, all they're constantly incentivizing you to just spend more money on different ads.
Yeah.
But this is using the data that you've already spent the money on to improve the on-site experience. So I didn't know that, actually. So that's a good point you made.
It is evolving rapidly, what we're doing, and I'm doing video tutorials and I'm doing demo calls and all that. And it's great to be speaking to all these Shopify users and finding out how they're using their tools. Because, like, say, for example, I spoke to a couple that run a store, and they sell high-end phones with really high-spec camera lenses on them, and then they also sell DSLR cameras with lenses, and so it's all video and photography equipment. But their main market is, they're based in the UK now, but their main market is the UK, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. But they were saying basically they know that their audience in Saudi Arabia, their customers, are buying really high-spec, 8K video Huawei phones, for example. But say in the UK, they might buy really high-spec lenses from them. So they were asking, is there any way that they could use Octovid Player to actually utilize the information that they have already? So in our player, you've got the option to say country. So you add in a new layer for country, and you say, okay, if the country equals UK, then display this video and this message that talks about the high-end lenses, so video footage of the nice lenses. But if the viewer is in Saudi Arabia, then display the video footage of the high-spec camera phone and actually talk about the camera phone instead. So it automatically does that based on the viewer's location. So immediately it's making the video much more relevant to your target market in that region. Yeah, we're learning every day. Like they're features that we sort of built in and had an idea of how useful they would be, but it's really only speaking to our customers and they're saying this would be brilliant for this. Can it do this? And we're saying actually, yeah, it can. So I'm happy to chat to anybody about it to see if it can help them too.
That's good. We'll have all your links in the show notes and your experience in terms of talking to customers. A lot of people, I don't think, realize that in actual fact, it's from your customers that you'll actually get most of your ideas. So
absolutely.
To go back to the point, about the data, at the end of the day, if somebody asks you something, you just, in your head, you probably go, well, can we get the data on that? And then the answer is yes. And all the data is available. So you kind of have an unlimited runway for how the product can improve and get bigger. As long as the data is there, you can use it.
Absolutely, yeah, and as long as you're allowed to use the data, of course, with GDPR and everything else. So we spent a lot of time just making sure that everything's compliant there as well. But if you have the data and you have the content, then essentially the Octovid Player just marries them together, and you end up with engaging videos, but have the extra layer of personalization. So I don't know, it's a really interesting product for me, coming from just viewing it, to be honest, because I'm learning about it every day as well. So.
Great. So one of the things I know that most people will want to know now is the pricing. So question for you, how on earth do you price a product like that?
It's been interesting. It's really based on feedback of speaking to specifically Shopify users who use Klaviyo and would have used MailChimp, or maybe they still do use MailChimp, and just finding out, if they're sending out a campaign, for example, they're making the email personalized, so they'd love to make the actual landing page and the video itself personalized. So it's sort of trying to base it on that sort of pricing plan. And I did mention earlier, we've got the bigger agencies that are looking at it. So we're trying to figure out the easiest way for us to implement a pricing model, but also the fairest way for our customers. So what we've ended up doing is created a pay-as-you-go plan. So it means that if you sign up for an account, you get 500 impressions free with your account to test it out. But when you want to buy more impressions, then you have to buy more credits. So
Ray, just on the agency side of things, just be very, very careful. I've spoken to a number of app developers who have realized that agencies are using their app and probably charging customers thousands of euros, and they're using consumer-based pricing. So
absolutely.
I worked in telecoms for a few years, and at one stage it was very close to the pricing team. And it's very, very, very difficult to get pricing right. And when you get it wrong, it's very hard to reverse and revert back to a profitable model. But look, I'm sure you know that. Yeah,
well, it's big because with Glue, the video production company, I would have worked with agencies for a long time, for years. So I know about that. And it really is the value, and especially if they can white label Octovid Player, which at the minute there's a little Octovid tag and a link on the player, but to white label it, you pay a bit more for that. So it is something that I'm constantly looking at and seeing how we're going to work with it. Yeah, if the agencies are going to drive a lot of traffic, and we're going to build up good case studies as well, because it will help our business as a whole, then we're okay to do that. But yeah, there's a big difference between charging for agencies and then charging for everybody else. So I think it's trying to find the balance of, okay, well, the agency will get the white label option added in, perhaps, something like that. But I'm figuring it out still.
Yeah, no, you will figure it out as time goes on. But listen, Ray, thank you very, very much for sharing your experience with us, and delighted to hear that the app is doing so well. We will have all of the links, including your pricing page, in the show notes. I'd love to talk to you again, maybe in 12 months' time, to chart back and see exactly what sort of success you've had. The way you explain it, and given the passion that you have for it, I think it's, I think, and I certainly wish you all the best, and I hope it's going to be a success.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for having me on the podcast. One thing, I was speaking to Aidan from VideoTree, who was on with you recently.
I was, yeah.
I think what he's doing is fantastic and actually training people on how to create better video content. I'm hopefully going to get on a call with him as well to see how we can maybe work together at some stage in the future. So this podcast has already helped me. So thank you.
Hey, Ray, nice talking to you. I will talk to you soon.
Excellent. Cheers, Keith. Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Milk Bottle Shopify e-commerce podcast. All of our episodes are available on Spotify and iTunes. We really appreciate the support of our sponsor, Rewind.io, the leading backup solution for your Shopify store. Get your first month of Rewind for free. Just respond to any of the welcome messages or emails after you begin your 7-day free trial and mention our podcast. Until the next time, take care.